All right, welcome to the Fantasy Wire HQ Quick Cast. It is Super Bowl week. This will be a quick cast on the Chiefs 49ers matchup. I've had all week to decompress and think about it. So here's what I've got. Before we get into it, follow me on Twitter at FantasyWireHQ. Bookmark the website at thefantasyfootballwire.com. If you're listening on your platform of choice as far as podcasts go, I've got them all linked on the site. And I also have a icon directly under the Fantasy Wire HQ logo. It's called Podchaser. If you could do me a favor and leave me a rating, review, I would greatly appreciate it. So thanks for listening today, and let's get to the business. So the matchup. First off, you want stats? Sure you do. We love stats. Here's some that I looked at this week that really perked my interest. So I'm just going to read these off and then we'll get into some thoughts and takes. But Kansas City has faced early double-digit deficits in its two playoff contests. San Francisco has yet to trail this postseason and has been tied for a total of only 27 minutes, 48 seconds. Patrick Mahomes has been the Chiefs' leading rusher in both 2019 playoff games. Patrick Mahomes is the fourth quarterback in NFL history to rush for at least 50 yards in consecutive playoff games. He's carrying the Chiefs' rushing attack on his legs. I mean, that's very odd. I can't see that this continues on Sunday, but you never know. The Chiefs finished the regular season fifth in passing yards per game. Chiefs have been better than the 49ers in turnover differential, +8 to +4. The Niners ranked second in the NFL behind the Ravens in points per game for the regular season. San Francisco finished number 1 against the pass, but Kansas City wasn't too far behind at number 8. The Chiefs actually had the slightly better scoring defense, number 7, at 19.3 points allowed per game, to the Niners ranking of number 8 at 19.4 points allowed per game. So take that for what it's worth. The 49ers were number 2 in rushing and number 13 in passing. Chiefs number 23 in rushing, number 5 in passing. The 49ers will be the 10th team since 2000 to make the Super Bowl after being the final unbeaten team. This is my stat of the day, and I'm going to drop this on my Rum Boys Super Bowl pregame show too. This is a great stat. Undefeated teams entering the Super Bowl with their undefeated streak beginning, at the end of the regular season or midway through, are 0-6 dating back to 2000. So that's concerning if you're a Niners fan. But here we go. My Chiefs thoughts. Remember Steve Spagnuolo's Giants defense, right? He spent 2 years in New York, was the architect of that aggressive defensive strategy against the Patriots, highest scoring offensive team in NFL history at the time of that Super Bowl. He boasted one of the league's scariest front four lines, man. That unit was built in the trenches with the front four generating the pressure and the back end just cleaning it up. So as he looks across the field at the Niners, he's got to see a little bit of that old big blue defensive unit, looking at right back at him. So now with the Chiefs, Spags scraps the prior 3-4 scheme that they were running, puts in his 4-3 setup, and you cannot argue with the results. The acquisitions of the Honey Badger, Thornhill on the back end, signing of Frank Clark, Emmanuel Ogba, and the hired free agent gun of Terrell Suggs to anchor that 4-3 have paid off by getting them over the hump, finally got them into the Super Bowl. The Chiefs saw gradual and steady improvement in that run defense, but what Spagnuolo's scheme was able to do for the secondary, in my opinion, was phenomenal. From second worst in the league in 18 passing yards allowed per game to 8th best in 19. I kept saying the last quarter of this season, you could really see the defense buying in. They're buying into the scheme. It's coming together. It's meshing. Here we are, Super Bowl 54. So I believe the Chiefs can win by being aggressive. Andy Reid's in his 21st season of coaching. He's had offenses finishing top 10 in scoring 13 times. Those are some solid, consistent numbers. Before Patrick Mahomes came along, look what he did with Alex Smith, turned him into an MVP candidate after he was jettisoned from the San Francisco 49ers. Andy Reid's offenses are almost always among the best. He is an unsung quarterback guru, whisperer, whatever you want to call it. He coached up the old gunslinger Brett Favre back in the day. So he was in Green Bay for a while too with John Gruden, I believe. But like most coaches, Andy Reid's inability to manage the clock in high leverage situations seems to be his kryptonite, or kryptonite, as Jerry Jones would say. At least his first and only Super Bowl appearance when he's with the Eagles in 2005, he just had a complete lack of urgency to make up that 2-score deficit in the fourth quarter. And I remember watching that, like, we got to get the foot on the gas here, right? So, I mean, that's old news, but you never know. My other worry is just his tendency to be conservative and not go for it on fourth and short scenarios. The red zone was problematic for the Chiefs offense in the regular season when they finished 20th in the red zone scoring percentage touchdowns at 54%. Andy Reid, to me, seems like he just settles for, the short field goal. He wants the points instead of letting his offense strike and just get in there, right? When it's fourth and short, he's got to check that big, oversized Denny's menu card play sheet and just dial up his best short yardage conversion play. This is Super Bowl. Every one of these contests is good for some trickeration type play, the Philly special, so on. I believe the Chiefs will have to have one of those plays on the ready. They got to have it. Andy Reid has got to have one of those plays in his back pocket. He may be forced to use one, or he might just surprise San Francisco at some unexpected time with one, a la Sean Payton and the onside kick in that Super Bowl against the Colts. You never know. My Niners thoughts for San Francisco here. I guess I kind of have some more questions than thoughts, but can the Niners defense stop or slow down a triple threat offense with Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill? To me, those are the big three on the Chiefs side of the ball. San Francisco handled Dalvin Cook in the divisional round. They absolutely stonewalled Aaron Rodgers in the Packers passing game in the championship game. Kirk Cousins and yes, even Rodgers do not have enough to make plays with their legs the way that Patrick Mahomes does. Rodgers used to, but at 36, he does not anymore. It's not gone, but it's fading. The Niners defense is loaded up front. We all know that, but they're going to be forced to chase down Patrick Mahomes all game long. Are they up for a full 4 quarters of trying to get their hands on this guy? They're going to need to rely on their experience chasing down division rival Russell Wilson, for sure. So all they have to do is contain Mahomes, neutralize Tyreek Hill, take care of Travis Kelce in the red zone. So in no way am I saying that is impossible. This defense is insane. But that's quite the game plan needed against 3 dangerous weapons and a battle-tested head coach. So third down is going to be a huge early factor for the Niners. You got to get Patrick Mahomes and that offense off the field on third down early in this game. Otherwise, if they go up and they do the opposite of what they've been doing this playoff run, the Niners are going to be forced to scrap the run game early if they go down a few scores. And we saw them trade blows with a potent New Orleans Saints offense on the road week 14. And we could see another high-octane game on Sunday. The game script for this one, in my opinion, can go numerous different ways. I talked about the Chiefs' big three, but I like the Niners' big three too. And Kittle, Debo, and Emmanuel Sanders. I think those three, I know Mostert had a monster game, but those three, I think, stretch the field, the explosive plays. They're the most dangerous if they get loose. I love the Niners offense even more when Debo Samuel is a part of it, but fellow receiver Emmanuel Sanders, sometimes he goes stretches without a peep, but that could be gameplay. Maybe it's Kittle's the hot hand, Debo's the hot hand, the running game's the hot hand. Either way, if they're forced to throw in a shootout, all 3 of those weapons, they're going to be needed big time. They're going to be called upon and must deliver. So I definitely prefer the wrinkles of the Chiefs offense with Hardman and Thompson in there with the speed, but you can't argue the success of San Francisco has had, even with the creativity of their rushing attack. Shanahan will show you multiple looks, motions, all pre-snap, and he'll set up runs specifically inside or outside. I'd imagine they're going to try to establish the run early. They got to control the clock. It's got to be a ground and pound style. So if the Chiefs are not going to be a threat on the ground, I am very interested in the matchup the Niners linebackers and even Jaquiski Tart are going to have on Travis Kelce. I want to see how they match him up in the red zone, down the middle of the field. However, handling the speed of Tyreek Hill and Hardman and any specific wrinkles Andy Reid's going to throw in there, that's an entirely different animal. I really think Reid's going to have something in his back pocket for this game. I definitely see the Niners in all honesty, as the more complete team. You look at a Super Bowl team and you say, who's more complete? Special teams, defense, offense, all three sides of the ball. I definitely go with the Niners for sure. But who is their wild card player offensively? That's my big question. I would have to say Deebo Samuel, but someone is going to need to emerge to put away a potent Kansas City squad for sure. So final thoughts on the Niners. Why I believe Ron Jaworski style here. Why I believe the Niners have experience in almost any style game this season. The only games San Francisco have zero experience in is being on the wrong end of a blowout. So even when they aren't at the top of their game, they can hang around and they can be in the thick of it until the final seconds. Reason why I worry, through the course of the regular season, there have been a few matchups that have been exploited at times. Obviously, teams that are throwing specifically to the other side of the field opposite Richard Sherman have been a challenge for him. And teams with mobile quarterbacks have frustrated the defense as well. Patrick Mahomes had 53 rushing yards in each of his postseason games. So he can be super slippery in and out of the pocket. So those are my two beliefs and worries there. The Chiefs, why I believe, simply put, it's Patrick Mahomes, right? The Chiefs are 27-8 with Mahomes as their starting quarterback. The 8 losses were by a total of 36 points, and Mahomes as the starter has never lost a game by more than 7 points. So the guy's got the arm, the will, and the X factor potential to definitely get it done. Why I worry right off the bat, it's those Texans and Titans games. Those opening slow starts have thrown everything into question for me. If they would have came out and just put those teams away early, I would be double the confidence that the Chiefs can win this game. But that's really throwing everything into question for me. Starting slow and being forced to overcome multiple score deficits, that's not the way you want to start off a Super Bowl. Oh, and the head scratcher to me is for a team with as many great offensive skill positions that the Chiefs have, how do they struggle in the red zone? The Chiefs scored a touchdown on just 54% of their trips inside the opponent's 20 during the regular season. So if they can't finish drives in the Super Bowl, especially early, the Niners are going to hang around and they're going to strike later. So my final prediction, man, I've got my fingers crossed and my gut is telling me that this is finally the Super Bowl that delivers 4 quarters of action, right? If last year was the defensive showcase, this one is due for an offensive explosion. So while I believe, I said it earlier, the Niners are the more complete team, and I'm good with whoever wins. It doesn't matter to me. I do, honestly, I'm a fan of the game first. I like both teams either way. I can never shy away from an X-factor player like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the Chiefs, they just seem to have the it factor, whether it's Andy Reid, Mahomes, Kelsey, the Honey Badger, even Terrell Suggs. I mean, take your pick. I see Kansas City pulling out the crazy walk-off ending victory. I'm going to say 34-28 in a Super Bowl for the ages.